Hello, welcome back to HunterTuned. Today we're going to be working on this blue EK Civic Si, and you guys may notice this car. This was on the channel previously, the Don't Forget Your Throwout Bearing car. It is back. It's been running good for the guy for quite some time now, and he called me up and said, hey Hunter, I want some more power. So we're going to deliver. Made like 400-ish horsepower last time it came in, but the motor had literally just started for the first time when it was at my shop. So I'm like, let's just go break it in for like a little while. Like I said, he's put some miles on the thing. It's running good, and now we're gonna turn her up. So I put a Mac valve boost controller on it. So he brought it in, like I said, and he wanted to turn it up. It had no boost controller before, and it had 1000cc injectors. So we want to make more than the thousands can handle, and we needed some sort of boost control on the car as well. So I added the addition of this Mac valve down here. You can kind of see it. So I teed it in, so the reference goes to the bottom of the gate and the valve, and then the other end of the valve goes to the top of the wastegate. Then I wired it into the ECU A11 and then put the components inside the computer. So I have videos on doing all that stuff already on the channel. If you guys search, I've shown how to do the Mac valve and the boost control stuff. It works really good when it's good. So yeah, so we did that. And then I installed a set of Bosch 2200s from HunterTuned.com as well. So these injectors recently started selling a couple months ago, and you guys have been buying them up like hotcakes. I've had a hard time even keeping these in stock, but I have a ton of them right now, and they're ready to go, and I'm going to show you guys just how good these injectors run. They are a 2200cc injector, but they are matched. I try to match them within 1%, so they're like perfect. So I went through and installed them with the RDX top hats, and then this car was wired for EV6 connectors, and I just got an EV1 to EV6 adapter clip, which isn't like, it's a better design than a lot of the ones with wire in between. These ones are direct, you know, from one to another kind of thing. So I trust those a lot better. Got those, so we didn't really have to cut anything or wire anything else. And like I said, the top hats were already in here from the thousands. From HunterTuned.com as well. I had those in here before, but yeah, so yeah. And then obviously when we put these Bosch injectors in so they don't pop out, I actually get a washer. So I'll show you the size of the washer. I get these zinc. These are like $1 for like 10 of them or something. Focus. Zinc plated flat washer. They're 1/2-inch washers, and I think this was like $1 for 8 of them, so you can do 2 cars. And then these are the adapters that I was talking about. They're like a all-in-one thing, so the pin just goes straight through. There's really no point for failure on this style adapter. So I like running those. And then like I said, the washer, I'll show you on this injector actually what I do with the washer, if I have an extra one laying around. So these are the injectors that were in the car. These were the HunterTuned thousands. I have recently not been selling these because I haven't been able to get them, but he did get some of the limited run of these thousands that I had offered. So there's what the injector looks like. The Bosch 2200 is exactly the same size as this. So your bottom seal that sits into the intake manifold will sit around this silver portion where my finger is right now, right above the O-ring. And that's where your, like I said, the bottom grommet is going to sit. But with enough fuel pressure, these injectors can actually push into that grommet farther and pop out of the rail. So when that happens, obviously you have a fuel leak and you spray fuel out of the injector, and it's, you know, not good. So what I do is I take these washers, the one I just showed you, and I put the washer over it like this. So now you can see that the washer prevents the injector from pushing into the intake manifold with the fuel pressure pushing on the top. So this washer will keep it from, you know, moving around inside of there. So that's a good trick that I do. Like I said, this washer fits perfectly, and then the injector can't go through into the intake manifold and come out of the fuel rail. So I did that. Like I said, this is what it's going to look like when it's all installed. So you can see those washers. And then it has the RDX top hats as well from my website. So all this stuff you can get. Maybe I'll start offering them washers and I'll include them with the injectors. It could be a possibility, or I mean, if you guys have a hardware store, they'll have washers. So that's just a good trick. Sometimes you can get away with not using them. I just like to put them in there, so it, like I said, there's no possible way that that injector could push into the intake and come out of the fuel rail. And then obviously you need to space your rail accordingly for pretty much putting in any injector that I sell, because a lot of them require the top hats, and when you put them in, you just have to make sure that your fuel rail is even. So when it's bolted down, it sits flat. So if you don't have the rail spaced right, the rail is going to sit like this crooked or this crooked, and it's going to put sideways stress on the top hat and the O-ring, causing a fuel leak. So that's just another thing that I do. And yeah, just figured I'd throw that little bit of information at you guys before we got started on this car. So anyways, it is a it's got a top mount Blackworks Racing manifold, BWR. Has 3-inch full exhaust that we built, and a precision, I don't know, some precision turbo. It's like a 60 trim, 60-ish, with a 82 back housing, I believe. Yep, 82. And then it has a tile 44mm wastegate just blasting right at the hood right now. There's no dump tube on it, but yeah, and then like I said, we plumbed all this stuff in too. So me and Trevor actually kind of built this car for this guy. Nice intercooler piping all around. It's got a Mishimoto intercooler, Edelbrock Victor X intake manifold, 70mm throttle body, the Speed Factory 4-bar map sensor, tile blow-off valve, and it is a built motor. So I don't know exactly what's in the motor. I didn't build the motor, but we did everything else. And it has a Exetti twin disc clutch. It's a setup to make a lot of horsepower. The only thing that sucks about this car is it has giant Willwood brakes, which is cool, but with this big of a brake, you can't fit any smaller rim to fit a big tire on the thing to get it to actually hook up. So he does have Toyo proxies on it right now, R888s, and we might go take it out on the street after we're done dynoing it and just kind of see how this thing hooks up with these tires, because, you know, Hondas with over like 450 horse or 500 horse are kind of a shit show. They don't go anywhere, you know. So, but traction bars on this car, it should shit and get, I'm hoping. And we do have 4 554 spark plugs in it, NGKs, already gapped. I always put them at 18 thousandths. If we got to go lower, we'll go lower. And then it has a Most Plus distributor on it. I actually have really good luck with these distributors. It is a cheap eBay distributor. Most Plus is the brand, and like I said, I have good luck with them, and they work surprisingly well. It has the VMS plug wires too, which are low resistance or whatever, and they look good. So yeah, I'm really stoked about this car, guys. It's a really nice setup, and I'm kind of proud of what we made here out of this thing, and hopefully the dyno doesn't let us down. Alright guys, so I got a little tune in this thing. It's not anything final, but just as an example here, we're running the car, idling currently. I mean, look at this air fuel. Look how steady that is. There's no jumping around, there's no nothing. These Bosch injectors that I sell, guys, they're genuine flow matched Bosch injectors, and these are by far the smoothest 2200s that I've used for the money. Obviously you can spend twice the price and get FIC or IDs, and those work amazing as well, but you know, obviously I try to cater to the guys that are trying to save a buck. And this is by far the best way to do it, in my opinion. So we're going through the tune here. My Hondata is froze right now, and I've been having some issues with Hondata because now Hondata wants you to be connected to the internet for frickin' it to work. And I was having some issues with even getting the S Manager software to work. Every time I plug the car in, it'd give me an error and tell I was plugged into the internet. So I think Hondata is actually changing some stuff with all this EPA crap going on. They just updated their software and their firmware, so I think there's something else going on. Let's just enjoy this sport while we can, I guess, and fight and try to just enjoy hot rodding as much as we can, and show everybody that we're good people and we're trying to save the environment by burning ethanol instead of pump gas. I should start charging more for people that want to tune their car on pump gas. What do you guys think? Be like, nah, you have an EPA fee if you're running pump gas. But anyways, so we're running through here. I'm going to show you these dead times that I'm running on these injectors. So here's the data that we use for these Bosch 2200s. And as you can see, car runs great. The map is nice and linear for the fuel table, so it doesn't have any like big blotches or anything like that in it to compensate. Sometimes when the wrong dead times are implemented, you got to adjust stuff differently than you would if you had the right data. So we're gonna do a rip and kind of see where this thing's at, just on wastegate pressure right now. I'm going to record a run, and I think I did just kind of roll into it before, and it was a little rich in vtec, so I'm gonna pull a smidge out in vtec, probably like 5%. But like I said, I did get a lot of this ironed out already. And yeah, I'm gonna set you guys up outside. I mean, just look at this steady air fuel at idle. I can't believe it. I just did a set of Bosch 2200s on another car too, and that car, it would just pop and this thing, none of that. This thing's gonna make some power, guys. 382 wheel on fucking 10 pounds. Let me show you the graph here. This thing is just awesome already. Like I said, we did have this car tuned previously. I just changed the injectors. We added the boost controller, so just wanted to make sure everything was happy-go-lucky. This thing could probably take even more RPM than I'm spinning it. I'm spinning at 8,500-ish right now. But yeah, 382 wheel horsepower, and that is on like 8.5 pounds of boost, creeping to 10 way up here at the peak. So, but I mean, look at that. Just awesome, and it sounds awesome. It's got a full exhaust. Certified ripper already. But let's turn this boost controller on here, and we're gonna see what we can do with the boost controller. So we're gonna go in parameters here, and we're going to go to boost control, enable boost control, and then we're going to have to set our duty cycle here at something probably around like 15 or 20 for it to start working. And then our frequency will also have to turn on and turn that to like 34, 50, something like that. We'll have to play around with it to get the frequency right, so our boost isn't wavy. And then another thing that we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to figure out how the solenoid wants to be configured. So some of these solenoids run 0% duty and some run 100% duty, normally open or normally closed. So you got a 50-50 shot here to get that right, and to get it right, always got to set the boost cut just a smidge over wastegate pressure, so you can make sure the solenoid is activating how it should, because sometimes you'll run into a runaway boost situation if you have the solenoid configured in the wrong direction. So I always set the boost cut until I figure out which way it wants to work, and then we'll play with the duty cycle little bit by little bit and tune her up. So the fuel map should be scaled accordingly. We will keep an eye on everything as we go up and boost and go from there. So like I said, I'm going to play around with some of these settings. We'll do a test run. I have the boost cut at 15 right now, so it should not be hitting that boost cut at all with very little duty cycle. If anything, it might come up a pound or two with the solenoid just activated. So, alrighty guys, so off camera, I did a little bit of tuning with that boost control, and pretty much, from my understanding, is the frequency, when you tune the frequency on the boost controller, the lower the frequency, the more range you're going to have with the duty cycle. So if you run 30% duty cycle, it's going to give you, say, 2 pounds extra boost, and if you run 40, it's going to be an extra pound, and then 50 an extra pound, 60. You're just going to have a lot more fine-tuning resolution, whereas if you run a higher frequency, it's going to be a more abrupt change. So like 10% on the boost controller might be 10 pounds of boost. So we're running 34 hertz for the frequency, and I'm at 30% duty cycle. The first run that I did was at maximum boost at 0, and it started to run away on me, so I got out of it. I caught it like right away. I was watching the boost gauge, and as soon as I saw it, I saw it just freaking run like a tack, and I'm like, get out of it. So then I changed it to 100, and now it ran wastegate pressure how it should, and then I punched 30 into the duty cycle, and we gained about 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds of boost, and that netted us the green line here. You can see this blue one. This was when the boost was about to run away on me, and I got out of it, canceled the dyno run, and then this green one was after I got it all dialed in. So this run, you know, like I said, it picked up everywhere. That was about an extra 1.5 pounds of boost. It was like 12 pounds up top, and it made 401 wheel horsepower. And yeah, so now we're gonna give it 40. Make sure our tune is still good. Everything is looking really good on this thing. Honestly, it's a ripper. I'm super stoked. But I'm trying to hurry up because there's a big storm coming in. And yeah, hopefully we don't get no tornadoes. All right guys, so this next run, I'm gonna put 40% in the duty cycle, make sure our fuel and everything is good through the run. It's kind of rich, it's like 11.0, but I mean, this thing just fucking pounds right through that fuel. So we're gonna do that, and I think I'm gonna lift the rev limiter to 9 grand, because it's currently at 8,500, and this thing's still making power. So I'm gonna raise the limiter, give it 40%, and see what it does. Alright guys, so that pull definitely made a little bit more power. We made 450, and you can see here where the difference is on the blue line. That's our most recent run, and we spun it higher, closer to 9,000. I didn't quite hit the limiter, I don't think, but we did make more power everywhere, and that was peak boost of 14 pounds. So we're gonna see what 50 does after this. See how much more power we'll get. I'm curious where the exhaust is going to start being a restriction on this car, so we're going to slowly creep up into it and see where we can get. This fucker rips, guys. Holy shit. So I did put 50 in there. My camera had an issue and it didn't record, but I'll do another one here in a second for you guys. The car was actually starting to spin a little bit on the dyno, which I've never actually had a car spin on this dyno. And I've made over 600 horse on a Civic on this dyno without it spinning, but these tires are a little smaller and I had slicks on when I'd made that much power. So but this car just made 518 wheel horsepower, So this is the difference going from 40% on the duty cycle to 50. So that's where that frequency is going to kind of come in. This blue to blue here was, you can see here 11 to 14, and now we just made 18 pounds on this one. So I guess it does kind of line up now that I'm looking at it again. This was like 10 creeping up to 11. And this was, you know, 13 creeping to 14 or whatever. And this one was like 18 almost the whole run, or whatever. It was spinning a little bit, but yeah, so I'm just kind of labeling these so later I can set up on the Hondata what duty cycle is what boost level. So that way we can implement the boost by gear, and he can just type in a boost number, whatever he wants for boost, and it'll automatically do the calculation for him. And yeah, so like I said, that was 50% on the duty. We might try 55 now and see what that brings us to. I have the boost cut at 25 pounds, and I mean, this is a built motor. It will take this, should take this all day long. But like I said, it's a full exhaust. If this had open downpipe or a hood stack or a bumper exit or something like that, I wouldn't see why not on this boost level. We would be making around 550. But yeah, and even on that last run, I didn't even spin it up all the way. So I'm gonna do another run with 55 on the duty cycle. Alright guys, so this thing, you could probably hear it idle surging when I came back down to idle. And I actually blew a vacuum line off of the back of the intake manifold that goes to the blow-off valve. So when it had a big vacuum leak, and it had a boost leak, and that's why the curve kind of just nosedived up top. It blew that line off. That was 19 pounds of boost, and it made 549 to the wheels. And it probably would have made more boost had that frickin' vacuum line not blown off. So I'm gonna zip tie that. I'm gonna go through some of the vacuum lines, zip tie them all up, and do one more. And man, this thing is a certified frickin' ripper. All right guys, so we just pulled this car off of the dyno, and we're gonna go take it on the street, make sure that our boost by gear and everything is working good, make sure the tune is good on the street as well as the dyno. And yeah, gonna rip it for you guys and show you what this monster is all about. So I have the boost by gear currently set up, wastegate pressure first and second, and then more boost third, and then even more in fourth. All right, so the tune was a little rich, so I went through and adjusted some spots. brake is hanging up. You can see the smoke over here and I can smell it. It's on the edge of the tire in third. And fourth gear could probably take a little bit more. Just got a data log on that one to make sure we're doing good. Second gear's like perfect for the street right now. You can hear it spin just a little bit, and then third and fourth are just gone. That's the beauty of boost by gear. You can actually make it hook instead of sitting banging off the limiter all day long. One more for good measure. Third gear pull. Alright guys, so yeah, took you for a little ride in the blue Civic, and we got her all dyno tuned with the big HunterTuned injectors, and the boost by gear is up and working. Awesome little setup. Yeah, very happy with the results. I'm pretty sure that the customer is also stoked, and can't wait for him to hit the track with this thing and see how fast it can go, and see kind of, you know, the more potential with this car in the future. So let me know what you guys want to see with this thing. Should we make some more power with it later? Should we, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. But we're gonna be moving on to some American muscle in the next video. So have a great night and a better tomorrow, guys. We'll see you later.